Most of you are about 12 weeks away from having the physique that you desire, but you're running into or succumbing to one of these five problems, and that's why you continue to look like this year on year on year. If you don't know me, my name's Tom Sergi, and I run the Gorilla Platoon, where essentially we get results like this and then just speak about them online so you can apply them to your own training and physique development. Now, let's run this straight up. One of the first and the main reasons you still look the way you do like this is you don't actually know what phase you should go on. You're like, well, do I eat more because I could do with some more muscle? I'm also not really that lean either, so I'm like, what do I do next? A lot of you are sitting between 15 and 20% body fat, where what you actually want is 8, 9, 10, 11% body fat, visible clean-cut abs, and as much muscle and density as you can probably get your hands on. So the question is, what do you do for the phase when you go into this? And the answer in which I run for guys to get results like this is you will sit just below maintenance for a period of 6 weeks. So you'll go onto online, find your own calorie calculator, establish what your maintenance would have been, drop it by 200 calories, and you're going to sit at that. Why? Because then the food is low enough that you're in a slight deficit, but you have enough food going in so you can actually drive performance in the gym and actually give yourself the best position for growing muscle. We'll come on to growing muscle in a second, but that's how you want to plan the nutrition. Then for the second, because this would be a 12-week transformation, as I said, most of you are 12 weeks away from looking how you should. The second 6 weeks, that's when you go into aggressive fat loss. That's when you start to up cardio and pull from food and really pull off the body fat as quick as possible. So this is what we did for him. Prime for 6 weeks, aggressive fat loss for the second. That's how you go from looking like this to this, honestly, in a nutshell. But that's your first and main problem. You don't know what you should do. Should you eat more or less? The answer is kind of not black and white. It's you should eat just below maintenance for 6 weeks and then drop your food and increase your cardio over the next 6 weeks to get that body fat off. Now, the second problem you actually have is your training. So I can tell you to do that, but what I'm telling you to do on the gym floor and what's actually happening are two completely different things. So whenever you are training, I want you to focus on a few different variables. The first one is going to be the speed of the repetition. Just slow it down. Like, it doesn't even have to be 3 seconds. It can just, as long as you are in control, bringing the weight down, perfect. But a lot of you just rush the way down, don't even pause at the bottom, and you just fully send it back up as quick as you can. You think that the only portion of the rep is the contraction, is the concentric phase. It's not. You want to just slow it down because then you're going to lift with intent. The goal was to use these big blocky things to stimulate the muscle to get it to grow. The goal wasn't just to move these around. So when you're lifting, also think, am I going down deep enough? Am I lifting it like steady for one? We'll call that tempo. Am I going down deep enough? We'll call that good range of motion. Am I actually using the working muscle? So if we're training your chest, don't look at these coming up and down because your chest is going to start by your sternum, run across your rib cage, insert onto your upper arm. You want to think, when I'm pressing this load up, I'm going to think about driving my biceps towards my chest because that's the way the chest fibers run. They converge across. So you're not driving this load up. You're just driving your upper arms together. Bang, that's going to shorten the pec. So we've got lift it steady, lift it deep, actually use the working muscle. And then the last thing you're going to do is just make sure that your last rep takes you a good bit of effort to get it back up. Get to the point where you couldn't have done another one. And you'll know this because your last rep will significantly slow down. You'll try and cheat, like your glutes will come off a little bit, and you make it to the top. If you lift like that, you're going to be okay. Lift it steady, lift it deep, lift actually with the working muscle, and your last rep should be a grind to get the weight back up. If you lift like that, you're going to grow. If you don't lift like that, you'll not really grow, and then the second or the first phase of this recomp was pretty pointless because you didn't use the food anyway to actually drive some solid performance in the gym. But you build those habits on week one and then you carry them through over the full duration of the transformation. So start training properly for the 4 variables that we just mentioned. The third problem, what you think is right nutrition is not right nutrition. A lot of you think low calorie and you think low carb. Do the absolute opposite. Carbs are going to be the reason you can train like that. So don't take your carbs all the way to the bin and don't even go on low calorie too soon. When it comes to feeding, There are two factors that are going to get you over the line with this. Keep your carbs high for energy, and also keep your diet with a solid amount of fiber. Fiber is going to fill it out. It's going to make you feel like you're eating more than you already are. When people start with me, they say, oh, I've never felt like I've eaten so much food in my life. I'm like, yeah, it's because there's high fiber, which most people aren't doing. When it comes to setting your protein target, for most of you that are around the target weight that we spoke about, 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein will be absolutely fine. Fat's 20% of your overall target. And again, this is the number you're going to pull from when you actually need to make change, but we'll come on to that in a second. So, as a rough rule of thumb, oats, whey protein, peanut butter, berries, oats, going to add solid amount of fiber, pack out your meal, make it feel like you're eating more than you are. Protein adds up the target, peanut butter slows down your digestion. So eat this like bang in the morning, well away from any sessions. Something more lighter, closer towards the gym, chicken 150, white potato, again, also going to add a good amount of fiber. It's going to digest quite quickly. Vegetables, pack that. That's what you're going to pack out the meal with. When it comes to your training, you're either going to have oats and jam. Depends on if you've got like a solid 60 minutes before you train. A lot of you won't. So then just run it up with fruit. You'll digest a lot quicker. But again, you're going to keep the fiber nice and high. Shake straight after. The second meal, you're going to make the same as your evening meal, same as your lunch meal. Why? Because most of you, the reason you don't follow something is because it's complicated or you have to prep things more than once. Screw them up for yourself and actually just prep, twice a week, the same batch of foods. This doesn't want to be fun or sexy. It wants to be simple and easy to follow. And then you run it up with something sweet at the end of the day, dark chocolate, yogurt, and berries. That's going to allow enough feeding for you to get over the line. It's going to be tasty enough, but not so fucking palatable that you can't stop eating it. It wants to be something you can actually stick to. Someone can give you the fanciest diet plan in the world. It doesn't fucking matter because you won't stick to it. You need simple and you need something that you can just actually run and stick to quite easy. So when it comes to how and when to adapt the plan, this is probably one of the biggest factors you will cross because you'll be like, oh, well, what do I do? This happened and I'm not sure. So for the 6 weeks, you will find a little bit of weight will drop off because you're sat just below maintenance, so technically you are in a deficit. That said, when you need to start seeing quick drops of the body fat, you want to see about a kilogram drop off per week. Now, when you run the plan, you're going to want to run formal cardio. Most of you just think food, take. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your food as high as you can for as long as you can. So therefore, push your cardio. I like to create athletes, not fucking starving children. So when it comes to cardio, you'll start 20 minutes daily, heart rate 120 to 130. And then from there, you'll push that number up when you're not seeing a change. 30 minutes of cardio daily. Then to 40 minutes of cardio daily. If you're not seeing a change, then like let's say this is now 4 weeks down the line, then you can pull from food, take 200 calories that come from your fats because you're not going to notice that drop off out of the diet. It's not going to change the overall size of the plan either. So you adapt the plan when you don't see the kilogram drop off that you need to. You push your cardio first to keep your food higher. Why? Because it kept you training performance in a better space. Then from there, you start to take from food later on down the line until you meet your target weight and body fat percentage. The last reason why you won't actually get there, this is probably the most important one, I should have started with it. Most of you will just stand on your own dick. You must understand that you look the way you do because of a direct reflection of the habits, the beliefs, and everything that has got you up to this point. And I don't say that to be condescending. I say that to understand that like the way you have thought has made you look the way you do. So you now want to change the way you think and act. This means you need to transcend into a different character. We call this an athlete version of you. Because the athlete version of you is going to have the capacity to say no to things that are going to sway him off plan. He's going to have the capacity to actually structure out a day to make sure you tick off all those variables. Training, nutrition, sleep, cardio, bang, 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 and ticking all those off. Whereas the version of you right now is lax. He lacks discipline, he lacks consistency, he lacks resilience. So you need to develop the character traits of an individual that is like an athlete. So you must now see yourself as an athlete, not as someone that's trying to get in shape. If you see yourself as someone that's trying to get in shape, it won't work. That's why it's not worked so far. You must view yourself as an athlete. With the points I've mentioned in this video, thinking like the athlete version of you. And in the micro, script out a day in the life of how he would live. What time would he get up? What would he do when he gets up? When would he prep his food? Would he allocate time to see his family at the end of the day so they don't try and pull him away from the plan? Would he be saying no to certain social events and doing different ones instead to keep him on plan? More than likely. That's how you want to structure a day in the life of you. See yourself as an athlete, not someone that's trying to get in shape. And within 12 weeks, you'll go from looking like this to looking like this. Thanks for watching. If you want to come join the Gorilla Platoon, there'll be links in the description. Obviously, we turn up daily, so I'll speak to you tomorrow.